But the problem is that I still have this period where I'm stuck.
No, you have a period where you believe you're stuck. You're not really stuck. You have a period where you're exploring the concept of stuckness, but that's all right. You're not actually stuck. You're exploring the concept of stuckness. So learn to redefine it. When you feel stuck, don't say, I'm stuck. That's a definition. Say, oh, I am free to explore the concept of stuckness. That's a different definition that puts you in a position of power relative to the experience called stuckness. And thus, then, it's not something that in that sense is happening to you. It's something that you're exploring. So what? Learn the mantra, so what?
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
And redefine it in a way, everyone, redefine your experience in a way that works for you. If it doesn't work for you, listen to the way you're defining it. I'm stuck. That's a definition.
Spread love, man.
Okay, so we've all been there, right? That feeling of being stuck, like spinning your wheels and going nowhere.
Oh.
Well, today we're going to do a deep dive into a really cool perspective on this. We're going to look at excerpts from Bashar.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, channeled by DARRYL ANKA.
Okay.
And just for anyone who might not be familiar with Bashar,
Yeah.
he's a non-physical entity, and he offers these really fascinating insights on things like consciousness and personal growth.
Always love a new perspective.
Right, but you know Bashar,
Yeah.
he doesn't really sugarcoat things. He says feeling stuck, it's not some like fixed reality.
Oh, really?
It's a belief.
So it's not like this unmovable object. It's more of a mental, like, construct that we create.
Exactly. It's like we build this cage in our minds and we convince ourselves we can't get out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bashar actually suggests this really powerful reframe.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I'm stuck, he suggests trying, I'm free to explore the concept of stuckness.
Huh. I mean, it's subtle, the language, but I can see how that could make a big difference.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you go from being, like, a passive victim to being more of an active explorer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like instead of just staring at a closed door,
Right.
you start like examining the door,
Right.
looking for hinges or a handle, maybe like a hidden keyhole.
Oh, I like that visual.
Yeah.
It makes me think of, like, creative ruts. Like, when I'm feeling stuck creatively,
Yeah.
if I can shift my focus away from feeling frustrated to, like you said, exploring the problem,
Right.
then suddenly all these ideas can start to come through.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Wow.
That's the kind of shift Bashar is talking about. And he also gives us another really cool tool
Okay.
for those moments when you just feel totally trapped.
That's
The
it.
so what mantra.
Boy,
I know, right?
it sounds almost dismissive,
Yeah.
like just brushing it off.
It does, kind of.
Yeah.
But it's really about creating space for detached observation. So, like, instead of getting all caught up in the emotions
Yeah.
of feeling stuck,
Mm-hmm.
you take a step back and you're like, okay, this is happening. So what?
Yeah.
It helps you detach from that immediate, like, emotional reaction, and then it creates room for, like, problem solving.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like hitting the pause button on that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
So that you can assess the situation
Exactly.
with a clearer head.
Exactly.
But doesn't that kind of risk maybe being too passive?
Right.
Like, how do you balance that acceptance with also taking action?
That's a great question. And this is where it gets really interesting. So Bashar dives into this whole idea of using our highest excitement as a compass.
Okay.
So he's suggesting that our purpose is basically to act on whatever lights us up.
Oh, that's nice.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. It puts the focus on, like, joy, fulfillment,
Yes.
not some, like, predetermined path we're all supposed to be on.
Absolutely. But here's where it gets a little bit tricky. So Bashar talks about someone named Da,
Okay.
who is really struggling to find their purpose.
Yeah, relatable.
And they express this frustration because their excitement, it kind of shifts
Okay.
and changes, and it makes them feel, you guessed it,
Oh, no, stuck again.
stuck.
The ever-changing nature of excitement.
Right.
Yeah.
It can feel like a moving target.
For sure.
Hmm.
How does Bashar address that?
Well, he explains that our excitement, it's allowed to shift.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're like off track.
Oh, good.
So instead of seeing these changes as like stuckness, we should view them as signs.
Okay.
to explore kind of a new direction within like the broader theme of our purpose.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
so it's less about like finding the one perfect thing,
Right.
and it's more about following like a thread of excitement
Oh, I like that.
that kind of weaves through all these different experiences.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. I think back on my own like journey.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a winding path.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of twists and turns.
Right.
And each time I've followed something that's really excited me,
Yeah.
it's led to these new opportunities, and like eventually it connects to the next exciting thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we get too fixated on one specific like expression of our excitement,
Yeah.
it's so easy to feel stuck
Right. Right.
when that expression like runs its course.
Totally.
So Bashar, he actually suggests embodying a different energy.
Okay.
He calls it douia to help us kind of shift our perspective
Okay.
and experience like more freedom.
I'm not familiar with that term.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
So from what I understand, douia represents like a playful, free-flowing energy. So like that feeling of like a child, you know, discovering the world for the first time.
Yeah.
Filled with like wonder, curiosity, not, you know, weighed down by like expectations.
Oh, okay, I see. So it's about like approaching life with a sense of openness, playfulness,
Right.
rather than these like rigid definitions of how things should be.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, and Bashar emphasizes that this like shift in perspective, it can be incredibly powerful. He says, if we're stuck in a rigid way of thinking, we might not even be able to see
Oh, wow.
the solutions or opportunities
Yeah.
that are right in front of us.
That's huge.
Right?
Yeah, it's like we're wearing blinders,
Right.
only able to see things within a very limited
Mhm.
framework.
Exactly.
So by embodying douia, we're essentially like widening our field of vision.
Yeah, it reminds me of that saying, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we might be surrounded by possibilities,
Mm-hmm.
but if we're clinging to, you know, old beliefs
Right.
and patterns,
Yeah.
we just can't see them.
We can't see them. Wow. And I think that ties back to what we were talking about earlier with the so what mantra.
Yes.
So by detaching from the emotional turmoil of feeling stuck,
right.
we create space
Yes.
to observe the situation more objectively,
Yeah.
and then potentially see those hidden opportunities.
Yes. It's like we're like stepping back from that tangled mess of a puzzle.
Yeah.
And we suddenly notice like, oh, a few pieces
Right.
fit together perfectly.
Right, exactly. And what's so fascinating to me
Yeah.
is that this concept of douia, it aligns with like the idea of vibrational frequencies.
Right.
So if we can shift our internal state
Yeah.
to one of like playfulness and openness,
Yeah.
then we're likely to attract experiences that resonate with that energy.
It's like tuning our internal radio to a different frequency.
Right.
And then suddenly we pick up on all these new possibilities.
Wow. It makes you wonder, what are we like currently defining as stuck
Right.
in
Right.
our own lives?
Yeah.
And what opportunities are we missing
Yeah.
just because we're holding on to this limited perspective?
Such a powerful question.
Yeah.
It challenges us to like really examine
Yeah.
those areas where we feel stuck
Yeah.
and ask ourselves, are we clinging to like old patterns
Right.
or beliefs that aren't serving us anymore?
Exactly. And if we are, clinging to something, that's no longer beneficial.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to, embrace that douia energy
Right.
and approach the situation with curiosity, playfulness.
I love that.
Yeah. Maybe even like a little bit of humor.
Yes. It's like we're giving ourselves permission to let go of the struggle and approach life with a lighter heart.
Exactly. And I think that's where the real magic happens.
Yeah.
When we release the need to control everything and just allow ourselves to like flow with the current of our excitement.
Right.
We open ourselves up to like a whole new world of possibilities.
It's like we're surfing the waves of change.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to like swim against the current.
Beautifully put. Yeah. And remember, even when our excitement shifts
Right.
and changes, that's not a sign of failure.
Right.
It's just an invitation to explore a new direction
Right.
within the broader theme of our purpose.
Yeah. So what does all of this mean
Right.
for our listener right now? Like, what can they take away from this deep dive?
Well, it means we have the power
Yeah.
to redefine our experience of feeling stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a life sentence.
Right.
It's a temporary state
Right.
that we can shift out of
Yeah.
by changing our perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
It means that, our limitations,
Yeah.
they're often self-imposed
Right.
based on, the stories we tell ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and the beliefs we hold on to.
It means that by embracing change
Yeah.
and cultivating a sense of playfulness,
Right.
we can unlock all these new possibilities and move closer to our highest excitement.
And maybe, most importantly,
Yeah.
it means we can choose
Yeah.
to have more fun along the way.
Yeah. More fun.
Yeah, it's about taking back our power, huh? We get so caught up in, thinking things happen to us.
Right.
But Bashar's reminding us that we're creating our own reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can be empowering,
Right.
but also a little bit scary.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, I have all this power,
Yeah.
but what do I do with it?
Right. Where do we even begin? To shift our perspective, especially when we're feeling so stuck in one area.
Well, I think it starts with just awareness. Like, what part of your life feels the most stuck right now?
Yeah.
Where are you feeling that frustration or that limitation,
Right.
that inertia?
Yeah, and once you've identified that,
Yeah.
ask yourself, what are the beliefs that I have about this situation?
Yeah.
What are the stories I'm telling myself that are keeping me trapped?
Right, and that's where the real work begins.
Yeah.
It's examining those deeply held beliefs and challenging the stories we've been telling ourselves for years.
Yeah.
Maybe even decades.
It's like untangling a knot.
Yeah.
It takes time and patience
Right.
and a willingness to look at things differently.
And this is where Bashar's tools can be really helpful.
Right.
That reframe of I'm free to explore the concept of stuckness.
Mm-hmm.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
It lets us approach things with more curiosity,
Right.
less resistance.
And so what? Can
Yeah.
help us detach
Right.
from all that emotional stuff.
That emotional charge.
Yeah.
So we can really look at it objectively.
Exactly. And once we've created that space,
Mhm.
we can tap into that douia energy.
Yes.
That playful, open-minded approach
Yes.
that helps us see new possibilities.
It's like remembering we don't have to have all the answers right away.
Right.
We can experiment, play,
Yeah.
let ourselves be guided
Yeah.
by intuition and excitement.
And remember, like we talked about, our excitement, it can shift, it can change.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to follow those shifts.
Right.
Even if they take you in a different direction.
Yeah. To wrap up our deep dive today,
Okay.
I want to leave you with this.
Yeah.
Feeling stuck, it's a human thing,
Right.
but it doesn't have to define us.
Right.
We can choose a different path.
We can choose to redefine those limitations.
Yes.
Embrace change.
Yeah.
And follow our excitement.
Yeah.
To a life that's more aligned with who we truly are.
And we can choose to have a lot more fun along the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep playing, and keep expanding.